Let's open our meeting. So, we'll open our meeting. Can someone just, no, it's being taken. Perfect.
Yeah, Tamika can take it off.
We're on now?
You're on now, yes.
Okay, so what's the date today?
30th.
So, October 30th, 5:15, meeting of the RDIC. So let's look at August 16th minutes. Anybody have any issues with those? Anybody read them? I do.
Put it this way. What's your issue?
My issue is on the discussion of notice of intent to sell chapter land, Emerald Road. I am noted here as a yay vote, and I was not a yay vote. I
No,
was a
you were
no
nay.
vote. Yeah, so I mean, it's fine. I just, for Tamika's sake, if she could change me to a nay there. That's, and then, okay, I'll hold that because I haven't noted any. Anybody else, any issues, changes? Is there a motion to accept?
Motion to accept with correction?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. August 30th. This was a meeting of the, on the header, this one says it's an RDIC meeting, which it was, but it was a joint meeting. We went to the HPDD. So I thought, what do you guys think? Should it say RDIC/HPDD?
Yeah, that should change.
So Tamika, if you could just add that, I mean, it's not a big deal, but, anybody have any questions or concerns there?
Nope, she got me on the Zoom, so that was good on the attendance.
Motion to accept?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Alrighty. So that's that. Next on the agenda is a project status of Harmony Place. Yes, sir.
Since you have it there as a joint meeting, should that be subject to the HPDD accepting the minutes? No.
Well, these are our minutes for
They are
our
two sets
meeting.
of minutes. They're two sets of minutes, so I would say it was your meeting.
Oh, then we don't need
and-
the slash.
And HPDD was in attendance, not joint. If it's a joint meeting, we both got to agree.
Okay, Tamika, make it what it should be. How's that? Thank you, Doug.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is a project status of Harmony Place. Where do I start?
Moving along.
There is, well, let me tell you what I know. If you've been up there recently, you'll notice that all of the equipment has been removed from the site. And there's all kinds of rumors that the project's dead and it's, and they're going bankrupt and blah, 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 blah. So, I heard this first off, from someone on Sunday, just a resident, and I'll leave the name out, but someone who is in the know, for what goes on in town. And then secondly, I got a call today from Laurel Adams from Harmony Place saying that, I think I have this straight, their broker had heard this. So the person that's working to sell this, and they heard it from someone in town who has been working with the broker, interested in buying one, all in a tizzy, saying, oh my God, what's going on? So I called her and said, look, what's up? And, well, let me just back up just a little bit. About 2 weeks ago, I got an email from the assistant town administrator where a neighbor had complained about noise late on Friday evening, equipment running up there late on Friday evening. So I kind of quizzed him and I said, it's dark, it's 6 o'clock. I mean, is that late? And he said, oh, no, they said this was like 8 o'clock at night. So I said, well, okay, maybe it wasn't there, So I called Laurel and I discussed it with her and Ron. And what happened was apparently the contractor, something happened at a site where he was in a panic and he needed equipment. So they were literally up there at nighttime in the dark, offloading, unloading the equipment and taking it away. So that seemed like an acceptable explanation to me, and it seems to make sense with everybody in a panic that all the equipment is gone. So I called the town administrator back, told him I had an explanation. I didn't know whether the complainant had left their name, so I could call him back. He said he had, and I said, well, why don't you not give me his name? Why don't you call him, give him my name, him or her, and if they'd like to discuss that, I'll give them an explanation. The person did call. I gave an explanation. She was very comfortable accepting of it, and in the end, I said, look, you've got my cell phone number now. If ever you have this problem again, you call me, and if I'm home, I'll drive right over and figure out what's going on. So I think this is an anomaly that happened. It sounds to me to be consistent. So that's part of my status report. The second part of it is, in this discussion I had with Laurel today, I asked her, well, I had talked to her last week, but I talked to her again today. I asked her, where are you with the project? And she said, well, we currently have 2 building permits in hand, and that have been issued by the town, and we expect within, she didn't want to be nailed down, to be honest with you, but she said within the next 3 weeks to be putting foundations in. And that's for 2 separate units. That's what she told me last week. When I talked to her today, she told me that on Friday they applied for 2 more building permits. So let's just assume that those get issued. They will have 4 building permits, out. They're going to be, models and so on and so forth. So I think that kind of explains why this. Well, I mean, I'm assuming, I'm taking them at their word, what they're explaining to us. It all seems to jive with me. Now, let's see if her thought was that, and I asked her if she would summarize this to me, and here's what she sent me after I talked to her. Oh, she said, not only are we not out of business, she said, we have more activity than we ever could have anticipated. She said, we have what she calls a VIP list, and I think that's a list where they must have sent a mailing out to seniors or whatever, saying, hey, if you want to be kept up to date with what's going on up at that site, let us know. On that list, they have 150 people that they're regularly updating. Wow. So I'll read. About 150 people signed up for the VIP registry. 10 or so are in contact with the broker weekly, broker meaning, okay. We are planning a pre-construction sales event for December, date to be determined. And then she makes a comment about where. Today, the water line was flushed and tested, equipment likely back on site before the end of the week. 2 permits in hand, and second set of applications was submitted on Friday. So that's directly from the horse's mouth, so.
That doesn't sound like they're going out of business.
Well, and then as a side to that, I got a call from Peter Campobasso this afternoon asking me to confirm the time of the public hearing tonight on the polls, and we chatted about that a little bit, and I mentioned to him this issue with noise and people concerned about the equipment being gone. He said, Mike, I can tell you, they are so thrilled with the activity they're getting. I can't believe the activity they're getting. So I don't know. If they're not telling the truth, they've all got the story together, and I have no reason to believe they're not telling the truth. So that's about all I can tell you. Anybody got any questions on that?
How did it end up going with the poles? Is it going to poles all the way, or
They're going.
no underground?
They're going underground for
From this,
300 feet or something, and then overhead.
To that crossing?
If you go down the driveway there, about 20 feet past the guide shack, you'll see a clump of, that's when the stuff's gonna come up out of the ground, and then it's gonna go directly down the left-hand side.
You guys wondering how they got.
And then when it gets to the cross over to them, it'll go back under
Yeah.
and over. So they're gonna keep it up
So they
above
have to
ground.
go-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't do their calculations right when they did their bidding process for electric.
So anyway, they met with the HPDD review board. It was a hour and a half,
Yeah.
seance, and in the end, they approved, they approved, or agreed to the overhead. So Mass Electric is here tonight for approval from the selectmen for that pole setting, so I'm anticipating no issues there.
But I've had several people that really were ticked off at me, why did you vote that way? This is
You mean to allow overhead?
overhead. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Because of the old, the way it was before, it was, everything, it was wide open, and you don't see wires or anything else. It was just better, but that's the way it is.
Because of that ground.
Aesthetically was better, but by the end, we ended up saying that there is no other construction group that have put in homes or whatever, that we've required them to put underground wiring on Main Street in order to get to their project, because the wiring that we're talking about
It's
isn't
on
on
the
their
town-
property.
it's on the town
It's
road.
on town land. And to require them to go underground, all right, to get to their property, of which they are then gonna go underground, this doesn't seem to be consistent. Or you'd have to go to every one of these builders and said, you know what? If you're gonna build on Noble Hill, you gotta go underground all the way from the center of town to it.
Which
And
they
it just
do.
didn't- Yeah.
Well, it's center of town, I see what you mean, yeah.
But I'm just saying, it didn't seem sense to force them to come off of their property
Yeah.
and upgrade our utility system just to get to their property.
But yeah, whatever comes in the future.
Well, the disadvantage they have is that whole system's tied into that above ground. Their electric for that entire facility, so they're not fed from, so it's not our problem.
They were
You're right.
aware of that. They
Yep,
were aware of
yep,
that.
yep, I know.
And they're on the,
say that again, I'm sorry, I missed your point there.
Their feed, with underground, you have minimal chances of weather and disruption, car pole knockdown, anything
Yep.
like that. Right now, their entire subdivision area is dependent upon that feed because they're not being fed from two ways. It's just one feed
Right.
up of there, so.
and that is not a very stable side of the road to start
Correct.
putting poles in.
Again,
If Mass Electric or
That's
National
grid.
Grid's agreeing, it's their problem.
yeah, exactly, Mike. It's Grid's solution to fix.
Okay, so any other questions, comments on the Heights?
Sounds to me like
On the Heights itself?
No, on the Harmony.
Harmony.
You're right, Harmony Place.
Okay,
We're good there?
good.
Okay. There's been a bunch of discussion about surplus soil and is soil being removed, and if it is, where's it going and how do you get it and so on and so forth. I've asked twice of Laurel, is there surplus soil and is it being removed? And she says no. I've heard different from contractors, so whether the contractor who's working there is doing things that Harmony doesn't know about, I mean,
We're not the referee.
the bottom line is, I asked her if there was surplus soil, the town would like first option to determine whether there was a need for the town for it. As you and I discussed, or I think I was on the river,
You were on the river.
to level the site across the street from
Yeah,
yours.
yeah.
So I can't do much more than that. I certainly don't want to call the builder, the contractor out with her.
Yeah.
I asked twice, she said she asked, and the answer was no. Any other comments on soil? Yes, sir.
If I may, if they are removing soil,
And
it is a
taking it out of
violation
town.
Town bylaw.
If they're taking it out of town.
Even if it not, doesn't matter, it's
Oh,
removal
they're
from a
moving.
parcel.
Okay.
Oh, really? I thought they could move it anywhere in town.
Nope.
No,
Oh, well, that's a lot of illegal stuff that's went on in this town for years, eh? Interesting.
Not news.
Yeah, no enforcement
that
though.
might be
whatever.
something you ought to tell her. Just to let her know, the owner.
Laurel's aware.
She is?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
I talked about the land, the
Noise complaint.
noise complaint.
Yeah.
Done.
The note on the inquiry on a land purchase, there's two separate issues. I received, back in August, I got an inquiry from, and I'm gonna leave names out because I've never asked these people whether they're willing to have their name discussed, so I'd rather leave it out. I was approached about the land up behind the pole on Route 68, the town-owned land up behind the cell tower.
Oh, yeah.
Is that for sale? Blah, 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 blah. Because of what I consider the uncertainty of what our responsibilities are, depending upon who you listen to, I said, look, I'll pass this on to the town administrator. I'll give him your name, and, you know, you can expect to be contacted by him. In all honesty, I didn't follow up on it until I read the minutes tonight. So I called the town administrator. I said, hey, do you remember we talked about? Yep. Did you talk to him? Yep. Oh, okay. Is there anything I need to do? No. And he started to go into a little explanation. I said, I don't need an explanation. As long as you're handling it and it's not hanging in the wind and someone's going to be complaining that I didn't pass it on like the Red Sox. So that's where that stands. I can tell you, wheels are spinning, Dick.
Yeah, because I do think in the bylaws or whatever that it is our responsibility for putting an RFP out to sell it.
What bylaw do you see there?
Mass General Law makes this body the authority for marketing, but not sale of town-owned property.
Marketing?
Yes.
So, but that's besides the
All
point.
right.
The selectmen at this point don't agree on what our responsibility is, and I'm to the point where I'm not fighting about it any longer. Whatever they want us to do, I think the proof is in the pudding, what we've accomplished so far.
For the Heights, yes, I agree.
So that was one, and then secondly, I got a call from a gentleman asking about, we got to come up with this. What is the parcel to the right, the quote-unquote Moselle parcel? Is that B or 2 or? I guess I need to pull out the map and figure it out because it's not fair to call it the Moselle property. But anyway, while I'm not sure he appreciated having his name mentioned all the time, but whatever that lot is,
Let's see. That's B, I think.
I think it is, but it's also been called 2, I think.
Lot 2.
Yeah,
And it should be, because it hasn't been assigned by an A&R yet, so.
right. But anyway, I get an inquiry from a gentleman who lives in town who has his own business. He's located in Spencer, and again, I'd rather not say his name. And he's looking to build a kind of a warehouse. Storage facility, a place where, you know, his people can go out of and he can store stuff. He asked me how much land was there. I told him. In the end, I said to him, look, I'm not going to say this is cast in stone, but a couple of years ago, our committee decided by vote, unanimous vote, that we would not market that parcel or any of the other 2 parcels until such time as there was significant activity at the top of the hill. He asked me why. I told him we thought from a marketing standpoint it would make it much more valuable. We also seem to think that's an opportunity for retail, not necessarily, you know, commercial or industrial, but I didn't want to discourage him. I told him that. I said, look, you put together, it doesn't have to be, you know, a professional document. Just put together, you know, 2 or 3 pages of this is who you are, this is how big a building you want to build, this is how much land you need, this is how many people are going to work here. Give it to me, and I said, I'll bring it to our committee, we'll talk about it, and we'll decide, you know, whether we have a change of heart and we, you know, decide that it might be worth putting an RFP out on. So I have talked to him personally at least 2 or 3 times, and I've left at least 2 or 3 messages. We've played phone tag a bunch of times. I called him as recently as tonight, but I called him last week, hopefully, to see that he could get me something before this meeting, but we just haven't been able to connect. Part of that may be my fault because I've been traveling so much. But so anyway, I just want you to be aware there is something percolating there, and it was not only his main business, but he also mentioned some sort of recreational facility he might be interested in as well. That's really all I got out of it. And I have his name and number and everything, but I just soon not,
Yeah, no.
not put it out on the,
But it'd be interesting, it is the most of that property on the right-hand side going in?
when I told him that I thought there was 5 or 6 buildable acres there, he thought that was the right size. But again, he doesn't, he hasn't really thought about it, I don't think,
Okay.
from the standpoint of building size and so on.
Yeah, they call that parcel 3.02
Oh,
in the GIS, and there's 7.18 acres associated with it.
And you,
but some of it's wet.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The
what-
total,
say-
the total, like, is 7.18, but that
just
doesn't.
to, say 100 feet away from the wetlands and all
Right.
that jazz.
That's where I come up with the 5 to 6 acres.
Okay, all right.
All right, any questions, comments?
No, please pat him on the back for us.
Yep.
Let's see if we can.
Okay, I addressed, is the project in trouble to the best of my
Yep.
ability? That's all the other thing that I spoke with Laurel about, and we've talked a couple of times about this, and she's talked to, and I think I talked to Nancy Nichols once, and connected Laurel and her together. They're gonna, in December, put together a presentation for the Council on Aging on, this is what we're doing, this is what they look like, these are the layouts, so on and so forth, so.
Excellent.
I also suggested to Laurel, based on, is the project in trouble and where is it, that she put together maybe just a one-pager that we could put on the website that maybe showed, okay, you see this, we got 2 building permits for those, we expect to have, ground broken in 30 days, and put it on the website and let people see it, and, I think that might help dispel some of the rumors. It's not up to us to market their project, but
That's a good idea.
we obviously want it to work.
If it could be also on board on the highway.
Yep.
Mike, are you, from this standpoint, is the town / our new town planner come up to speed on involvement?
I was introduced to the new town planner last, whatever, I don't know what day,
Yeah.
Thursday. I got and I agreed that I would get together with him when I got my feet on the ground. I got an email from him this afternoon that I haven't even responded to yet, saying, hey, can you give me some time someday this week? And he named a couple of
Okay,
days.
I just-
So we can talk about what you see the needs of the planner to be in regards to the RDIC, so.
I just was looking to unload you, and because originally, if I'm not mistaken, I thought Dave was going to step up and take over like a project management from a technical standpoint at Harbor Classic Homes, but of course he left, so
Yep.
I didn't know if maybe that's what John needs to maybe step up, and that'd be a role that he could step into.
So,
Does he have enough time?
We don't have control of him, I don't know.
I have a question of, I'll just throw it out there, and maybe Doug, I'd ask your comments from the review, well, you two, Dick, the review board. Has Quinn been on the site, do you know?
Could not tell you.
I mean,
I
it
know that
would
he's-
seem to me that with all, you folks obviously, Peter, sorry, you're behind the camera, Peter Crane, from the Concom standpoint, you folks obviously are at least paying attention to erosion control and those kinds of things.
Yes,
Okay.
we've done reviews, we've sent feedback back to them. This is a while ago now, but yes,
And in general,
we didn't see a problem with anything.
it amazes me that they can open the amount of land they have and not have a problem on that hill right next to a pond, yet other sites in town, there's all kinds of problems when it happens.
Yeah, Mike, you bring that up. That's a good point, because with all the water lines going in, you would have thought that
Well, that's-
Quinn would have wanted to.
That's
make
Weston
sure
and
that-
Sampson that
Oh,
does
okay.
that. I can tell you, I inspected the water lines, like I know what I'm looking at, but I went there when they were searching for the end of the line, when they found it, and then I stopped every other day until they were done, just because I was concerned that it was gonna be done before the end of,
Yeah,
before
yeah.
the start of school. So, I don't know that Weston Sampson was there. I can tell you that I talked to Chris Klosky at least twice and maybe 3 times when the water line was being installed. He said, Mike, I'm all over it. I know what they're doing. We're talking about where it's gonna go. He said, I said, are you happy? He said, yes, I am. I said, enough. I don't have to hear anymore. As long as you're happy, I'm happy.
Jimmy, I would have thought they'd had to put conduit in if they're gonna run electric underneath it before winter. I mean, that should all be underneath that road too. I don't know if it is. I just, yeah, that would be something that
No,
Quinn would
that-
have to verify.
Yeah, I don't believe where the water line is going onto the site, they have to go under it.
Okay, no, I was thinking underneath the road, because they're gonna have to come up that side of the road from the,
Oh.
and then they've gotta go under, so that'll be dug, and sometimes when you're putting in conduit under asphalt road, depending on the base, things move.
Are they gonna push
Well, I
it?
gotta tell you, the state should learn something from the way they did the job and the way they patched the, I don't know whether you've driven through there, I mean, you'd barely know they did it. Drive through the center of Holden and it's like,
Combat
it's a
zone.
torture test, and I look at what they did, I go, why, how come, the difference, and it's my ignorance, I'm sure.
Do you think it's something that we ought to get in contact with Quinn?
I will get in touch with Quinn. I thought of it today. I'll call Kevin and ask him, what, when he thinks he needs to go. I have talked to him once before, but it was months ago. In fact, it was before they put the water line in, because I asked him whether he had been contacted about the installation of the water line. And he said, no, Mike, that's Weston and Sampson, which I'd forgotten. It's been so long since I've been on the planning board. So I will contact him.
Okay. Good.
I guess the last thing I have, and I don't want you to think I'm crybabying or complaining. Do you think we're meeting enough? You guys feel like you're informed enough? I have to tell you, from my standpoint, when I send out, like before I went away, I sent a note out to everybody saying, hey, warrant articles have to be in by such and such a
Yep.
date. If you think you need to, you think we have something that should be put on the warrant, let me or Michelle know. I didn't hear anything from
No.
anybody. And then when this meeting was scheduled, the only one that responded they were coming was you. So, no, and don't get me wrong, I'm not, I mean, if you're here, you're here, if you're not, you're not. But if I should be doing something different to make it better, you guys gotta tell me. I mean, do you feel as though you're informed enough? I mean, there are times when, we go 3 months without meeting, but,
We might meet more frequently once this thing gets rolling, but they're just at the beginning stages.
but even when it gets rolling, what are we gonna meet for?
Oh, it'd be just any comments that might come from the HPDD that might need to come back to the RDIC. That was the only thing. Other than that, I mean,
Well, I have a few that I wanted to raise a little stink about, but
Well, no, that's fine, but I mean, I'm happy to set a meeting, like,
Yeah.
the first Tuesday, no, not Tuesday, probably, but, pick a day that's good for everybody. Well,
Second
maybe we could
Tuesday.
do it, just before your planning board meetings, and I don't see it lasting more than, half an hour, 15 minutes, unless there's something going on, so I guess I'm asking you, if you think we need to meet more, I'm happy to do it. I
you
just,
think?
I don't want you to ever be asked questions by the public and go, I don't know, because
No,
we're
that-
not meeting, you know what I'm saying?
No, I've been asked questions about the project, and I said it's just the beginning stages. They're clearing land, they're getting ready to put buildings in. Well, how many kids are gonna be up there? I go, well, how about none?
I wouldn't say none. but-
Well, I'm going with that one until I'm proven different.
All right, well, think about it. If you think we need to meet more, just send me an email or something, I'll schedule.
because of the way the forestry thing is, and I couldn't stay on top of it this past summer for crying out loud and lost it. Talking to a few foresters around, if we're gonna look for somebody, we're not gonna find them, not for a while.
Well, I can tell you that I had a discussion today with the town administrator about the previous select board, in my mind, and I asked Tamika if she agreed with me because she was at these meetings, agreed that they would use ARPA money to help us to clear the trees. And then when this so-called grant situation came along from the state, they said, all right, let's wait, let's apply for the grant, let's see what happens, and if we don't get that, then we'll use the ARPA money. It was for that, and it was, if I remember right, it was for the driveway over at the old fire station. There was some ARPA money there. I ended up asking Tamika to confirm that my memory was correct. She agreed 100%. The town administrator overheard the conversation and got involved in it, and he basically doesn't think we should be cutting trees down. So,
What?
What?
we can discuss it tonight. We can discuss
No,
it.
because I'm planning on going home from here.
I'm gonna lasso your ankle.
No, you're coming to the, you wanna,
Oh, crap.
Dick, you wanna see the presentation of my big check over there, buddy?
Well, anyway, so you said you had some things you wanted to address. I just, it's 10 minutes to 6. I want to give you the
No,
opportunity.
basically, for crying out loud, I wanted to see this piece of property already cleared off. I'm talking about on the left-hand side going in and open it up. Love to see miniature golf. There was a golf course there and things like that. What a wonderful doggone recreation area. Well, the time to do this type of thing is now. Between now and next springtime, before the birds start laying eggs and everything else and people go crazy. Now would have been a beautiful time to get in there and have taken care of everything.
Well, I have a written quote from the guy that was working up there, and I think his equipment is still up there, if I'm not mistaken. I hadn't been there since before I went away. For, I think it was $25,000 to go in and clean everything down to the ground, take all the dead stuff out, that he determined,
Grab it.
that, he determined should come down,
If they need that,
but
that's that.
unless we can get the select board to agree to it.
Thanks.
And I went through the whole thing on, we wouldn't have what we had now if we didn't get the $30,000 from the other tree cutting.
Yes.
And the selectman wasn't gonna give it to us, and we went to a town meeting and got the people to support it, so. Look,
How can we move on in this town, for crying out loud, when you've got
take a breath,
Yep.
take a breath.
If, to Dick's point, if we want to get something done and we believe it's the correct thing to do for the property to increase what we're gonna be able to market that property, shouldn't that be enough said? Because as Peter said earlier, we're the marketers of this property. So if we believe something needs done for the property to increase marketing, shouldn't that be taken into consideration from the?
Sure should, but they gotta let the purse strings go.
Well, that's my point. How do we make that happen? I don't have a good answer, cause
Well, why don't you ask the question tonight?
okay.
I'm sure that this will come up tonight, so, So the purpose of this meeting with them tonight is, what are our future plans for the rest of the site? So, I think.
I have no problem.
I think
Mike
that-
asking that question, cause it really,
I think it is what we voted 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Nothing right now. And that may not go over big with some, but that's the way it is. All right, we have one other.
Thank you. Stay with that, please.
Oh, yeah. I'm kind of bashful, Dick. I don't know if I can do it.
Well, you can.
One other thing we have to deal with tonight. There is a 61A removal, which Tamika
road.
sent those things out.
I think there's something wrong with that.
Well, that's not for us to worry about. If something's wrong with
Then
it.
why is it coming to us for crying out loud? There might be something wrong with it.
No, they do it as a courtesy to the RDIC, and they've been doing it for 25 years. They're under no legal obligation to do it.
state doesn't require them to do it.
They
They're
do
just
it
doing
because they think they should. And it's fine, but, I mean, this is as you know, this is a single parcel, acre and a half
Yes.
lot.
Acre and a half out of the whole thing, but it's the whole thing that I think it's got to come before us. Not,
No, you can take an acre and a half out.
well, if you think so, go ahead, but if you talk to some
Well, no,
people in the Ag Commission, you'll find out, for crying out loud, where this town is so freaking back-assless.
What Dick's getting at, Mike, and this is where I had issues too, is that as the town, before they sent it to the RDIC and to the planning board and to the Concon, have they done their due diligence to make sure everything, the i's are dotted and t's are crossed for this property coming out of 61A?
That's not our worry. What they're asking us is, do we, the RDIC, think that acre and a half parcel of land has value in the RDIC's eyes? Yes or no? Don't worry about whether the i's are dotted. That's for someone else to deal with, not us.
And not I either. I have to abstain because that's the wife's cousin.
Well, that's fine. So the question is, if we don't vote on it tonight, we're gonna have to have another meeting. And I'm willing to do that. I just thought, while we were all here, are you familiar with where it is, Jim? Yeah, of course you are. So, any further discussion?
I mean, whatever we say doesn't matter, because they don't take our opinion anyhow, so.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, we make the best decision that we think is in the interest of the town from the RDIC standpoint.
I mean, I don't see anything we can do with an acre and a half. I mean, I personally don't.
I don't either. Jim,
I don't think we need it.
any further discussion? Someone make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
You gotta vote on this first.
Motion
No,
to, send a recommendation to the select board, if I'm not mistaken, of the RDIC of a,
No interest.
no interest in the, 42, I think it's 42 Ridge Road, if I remember right.
It's on Ridge Road, something like that.
Hang on, I got it right here. It's,
I believe it's a state lot.
lot 3S on
Okay.
Ridge Road,
Lot 3S on Ridge Road.
as outlined in Cranston's 10/23 letter.
Yeah.
Motion made, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Dick abstain, Tamika? Okay, unless someone's got something they'd like to add, that's taken care of. Anybody?
Don't.
Okay, so I'd ask you to think some more about, do we need to meet more? And do we, do you want to schedule regular meetings?
I was pleased to talk to Paul Davis and Steve Galat, but things are very out straight.
I just saw the quote
and,
that I had the other day.
I'm glad they are. I'm glad they're busy.
Was it here? We got a couple of minutes. Peter, do you have to go to the other meeting?
Yes, I do. So I'm just gonna leave it running. So don't say anything you don't want. No.
Well, no, let's adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.